Hey y'all, Noni here. Welcome back to my channel. You can call me Noni. I usually take these off because of the glare, but I can just see so much better when I have these glasses on, but the only way I don't have a glare is if I hold the phone up, and that hurts my arms, so I'm gonna do my best. But so it's been a while since I did my last video, but sorry, as some of y'all might remember, I had mentioned that we were going to the lake, which I live near a lake, so it's not like if I went, I'd be missing out on any potential job interviews or whatnot. So, not that I think they're doing most of them in person. I think most of them are on Zoom, but, you know, when you're looking for a job, part of when you're requesting your check, you have to be like, were you available to accept work and blah, blah, blah. Well, yeah. I mean, I may have to jump in the shower, rinse the lake and the sweat off of me, but yeah, I can, you know, do the best I can to waddle on over there. But so we went to the lake. We rented cabins. Just wanted to get, you know, out of the house. Like, we've been, especially because of the heat and because of COVID, we have been, me probably more than anyone, have just stuck inside for 5 months or whatever. I mean, the only time I leave the house is literally when y'all see me on video. That's it. So we did that. In order to prepare for it, and I did this on the last camping trip that we did in the winter, we always, my parents and I, not just my parents and I, but my parents and my kids and my kids' kids, we all go camping in the winter. So we can have a nice fire and all of that, and the cabins are cheaper. And before we did that this year, you know, I knew normally when you don't have little kids, we used to just like get drunk as hell, if I'm being honest, and play games, card games, all kinds of games. It was so much fun. And it was just a few days. And I'd plan like, what are those things called? Oh, scavenger hunts for my grown kids. And then I'd have prizes like a nice bottle of like fire, it's not fire starter. What's that real popular? Fireball. Or a gift card or cash or whatever. And it was just so fun to, and I made a list of like things they could find in a woodsy area, but then I would throw some extra, I'd hide things, kind of like Easter. And anyway, it was fun. And then we always had, whoever won games, there was prizes. We did bingo. But ever since Hippo's been born, it's been a little bit different. So I don't really partake in any of those activities anymore because, one, I have my illness, which just keeps me from being as much of an active participant, you know what I mean? Because to entertain, I think it's like 12, ends up being like 12 people. To entertain 12 people is exhausting, plus trying to help with like the cleaning and the meals and all of that. So last time we went, I was like, you know what, steroids really help me to, they feel like they help me get my body back. Like, the pain is lessened. I'm able to do more. I have more energy. And I was like, okay, I'm going to see if I can proactively get a steroid pack and then see if it, helps me. I did this last fall, winter, when we went camping, and it worked like a charm. I was able to keep up with Hippo and help with the more domestic duties like the cleaning and stuff. And usually I'm good for about 1 day with Hippo in terms of exhaustion, and then that's all I can handle. And this was a full weekend, and it was great. So I thought, well, this time around, I'm gonna do the same thing, because this was 5 days. We're literally like, I don't know, 10 miles from my home or whatever, but I'm having to switch a lot. This is killing my arm. So, I did the same thing. Now, before I continue, as I've said before, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nurse. Please don't take what I do as medical advice for you. I'm just telling you my experience. Always, of course, seek the advice of your doctor, which you would have to do anyway if you were seeking steroids. It's like a Solumedrol pack. I'm not talking about like anabolic steroids where you put a needle in your butt, and you're trying to get muscles or whatever it is they do. So I got some, and but I didn't do a damn thing. Not, sadly. And I think it's because, one, there's been a progression, for sure, with the thyroid element, the hypothyroidism element now, which I suspect I've had hypothyroidism longer than since what I was diagnosed, but maybe it's accelerated enough to where it's showing up on blood tests, you know what I mean? And I have to say, I haven't been super great. I'm having difficulty with that medication in terms of remembering to take it when I wake up, because I wake up at different times every day, because I don't have a job, and so I'm just sleeping until whenever my body says, bitch, you can't sleep anymore, which is usually around 5 a.m. because my body just hurts so bad. But sometimes I forget to take it, as I did a lot over the weekend. And you can't take food before or after for like 30 minutes or whatever. So anyway, but the worst thing, the stupidest thing I did with this trip was, because like I'd never gotten to experience Hippo in the water. Never even, I think one time in a pool when he was like a baby, and it's just not as much fun, like when they're able to like, jump in with their floaties and swim and all that stuff. So I'm gonna have to lay down. Hold on. You're going right here. I apologize, y'all. Okay, did you like your time on my shirt? I hope so. Sorry. Let me turn my heating pad on. I've been on this thing all day, and I know he makes it worse, blah blah blah, but I can't tolerate the pain. And I've taken all my pain meds, and they're not touching any of my pain. So, but anyway, I made the big fat mistake of the minute I got there, we unloaded, and then, excuse me, immediately got in the water. No, I'm sorry, it was the next day. Like, we didn't get there till night, right? No, I think we just got in the water. No, it was the next day. Yeah, it was the next day. So, but still, woke up, got in the water. And it was nice because it just felt like even though I was hurting, when you're on the water and I've taken my meds, I had a few drinks in me. I don't drink all the time because I feel like it's problematic with a chronic condition in terms of pain. I don't necessarily feel like it's certainly not helping you. And I think drinking too much obviously isn't good for your body anyway. But then add a chronic illness onto that. So I don't drink all the time, or if I do, like, I have a drink. But this time, we did our hippo thing, where Hippo and I got in the water, and then he got real tired, as kids do, and I wanted to spend some time with my actual babies, my kids. So because I missed that, last time in the winter when we went camping with my parents, 100% took care of Hippo, and I missed out on all this good quality time with my children. And so that's one thing I really want to try to get back into balance, because those are my babies, and I miss them. So I want to get back to that. So anyway, when Hippo was done, me and my kids, there was a big, those big old floats where they're like a 6-seater or an 8-seater or whatever. Those are just so awesome and fun. And if you have the means, they're not even that expensive anymore. Get one. I think they end up being cheaper than buying individual rafts, which I know you can tie together, but these are just so much more fun. It was a big old raft that sat 6. It was a circle, and then there was a hole in the middle, kind of like a donut. So you either get on it up top, or you swim, or like if you want to get in the water, you can either get over on the side, or like I would do, I would get out in the middle of the donut and swim under. If you feel comfortable doing that, which some people might not, but I'm confident in my swimming ability for right now, no matter how my condition has progressed. I at least feel confident still in the water. Not if I had to actually swim a distance, but I can get myself from underwater, out from under like a not even a 2 foot, I guess a 2 foot wide rafty thing. So anyway, we did that, and getting on the raft was a feat. I am not the most agile person. I'm overweight, and I have a chronic illness. So those things, plus it's water, and so the raft is always moving, it's wet, it's slippery. It was difficult to get on the raft, and then I'd have to get out for whatever reason and then get back on the raft. And then even the little tiny amount of swimming that I did, like from the raft to because at one point I was like, I'm done, like I gotta call it a day or a night or whatever, because I was so tired. So I went and took a shower, and then I was done. Like, my body just, what is my phone? I feel like my phone is like surging, or I don't know, whatever. Anyway, so I went to bed. I woke up the next day and I could tell, like, you screwed up on this one. Like, I did too much all at once. You know what I mean? I blew my energy, my tank, my energy tank. I emptied it all on that one outing. So the rest of the trip was me laying in bed because I had to be on a heating pad for one, but also it triggered a really bad migraine, and so I thought, well, I could at least be out in the living room spending time with my kids that way, and just laying my heating pad. But the way the outlets were set up, we didn't have an extension cord, and there wouldn't have been an outlet that allowed me to lay on my heating pad because it wouldn't be close enough. Two, there was one, but the outlet was out, so great. Number two, the TV was way too loud, and it had to be loud because Mimi can't hear very well. Plus, there's a lot of people, and so there's some cross-talking happening, so whoever's watching TV needs to, like, be able to hear. So the TV was really loud, plus all the talking. So I just was like, I'm going to be in my bedroom. I can't, like, I had to just shut down. So for the next 2 days, I was bedbound. Like, normally pain, like, wakes me up and just doesn't allow me to lay anymore in bed. But I would go to sleep at like 10 and kind of sort of wake up at like noon. It was hazy, and then fall right back asleep, and then wake up at like 2. Get up, go get something to eat, take my meds, fall right back asleep again. So basically, the entire trip was, I did one thing, and then I spent the rest of the time in bed. Cared for Henry as much as I could, which was mostly his nap and or bedtime. Like, he'd lay in bed with me and we'd watch a movie, or we'd read books. I brought a bunch of things for him to, like, play with. So we would do those in the bedroom. And it sucked because I could hear everyone visiting, and laughing and having a great time, just bonding and reconnecting in the living room. And it was just immediate family. It wasn't a bunch of people. It was family we've already been around a ton of times. Of course, between then and now, could they have caught COVID? Potentially, but at some point, it's like, we're mitigating the risk as much as possible. Is it the right word? I don't know, whatever. We're trying to lessen the risk as much as possible, while still maintaining, minimal contact, in person. So, but everyone had the all clear, like, nobody, and I realize asymptomatic, but everyone was feeling well. There was no hint of anything, so hopefully that will remain the case. Hopefully. I pray for that. But, so it brought up an interest, thinking about that, like, brought up an interesting dilemma when it comes to people with chronic illness, because, you know, you never want to be the center of attention in terms of like, where anybody has to take care of you or look after you or whatever. Like, I get enough of that in my daily life. And I just wanted my family to have fun. I didn't want anyone to have to worry about looking out for me, you know, or obviously, like, when I'm in the water, make sure that my ass doesn't drown, but, like, you know, and I wanted them to have fun. But it's like, you know, when you have a chronic illness and you're going to do anything outside of like your norm, which is just whatever your normal daily care regimen is for you, right? The struggle is, do I do it in bits, or like, so I could have either done it the way I did it, was like get one awesome day in where I just took one day and I didn't worry about the consequences to my body, and I just did what a normal person would do, which was just hang out with my kids on the water. Or do you do it to where you spread it out over the days, and you do like micro moments of spending time together where you're sitting there watching TV with people, or you're playing a game. Now, one of the last days I did, my sons taught me how to play spades, and that was fun. I learned how to play spades, and we played for a couple of hours, but it was excruciating. Like, I suffered the entire time. Half the time I wasn't even paying attention because I didn't have a heating pad, because there was no outlet. And sitting in the chairs were very hard. I put a pillow down. I got up and stretched my back as much as I could, but sitting in a chair for that long, playing cards, it was very painful. Like, there were several places of my body that were in really intense pain, and I paid for that as well. So that's always the conundrum. So I'd love to hear how, like, you guys do it. I know a lot of people don't even bother going anywhere anymore because sometimes they don't have super supportive family, and maybe they make them feel guilty. I will tell you, I am so blessed. Like, I think my kids, especially my boys, my boys don't see me in any other way other than Noni. When I'm around Henry, I am as energetic as possible in terms of how I interact with him, verbally and physically, in terms of like, everything's up here. Even if I may not be moving or jumping around, but I'm like, I'm excited and I'm animated and all of that. And I know it's easy for my boys to look at that and be like, she's fine. You know, they never see me in my natural state. So, but I wonder, like, what other families do. Have some of you just given up altogether going to family functions? Do you feel like your family has shunned you from even inviting you to family functions? Have you stopped going altogether because you're like, it's not even worth it? You know what I mean? Or do you pick and choose which family functions to go to based on who's going to be there versus, you know, supportive people versus non-supportive people, or based on the activity, or, you know, like, I would just love to hear from some of you on, like, what you do, because it's definitely a conundrum in the chronic illness world. Like, I always say, for me, at the end of the day, spending that time with my kids and getting to play in the water with Hippo, 100% worth it. Like, all the pain, then the past few days after that, the exhaustion, like, I'm still paying, but it's worth it, because I spent real time with my kids. I didn't take one picture, which I regret, but also don't, because it means I was in the moment. You know what I mean? But I regret it because I am forgetful, and you know, I wonder sometimes, am I going to remember any of this in a few years? Now, obviously, I'm talking about it here, so the event I might remember, but am I going to remember? Like, I want to see pictures too, you know what I mean? But I think somebody got a couple. But as I was saying, my family is super supportive. There's a lot to do when you've got a lot of people and they're eating and they're, you know, playing games, and there's toys. There's a 3-year-old taking out every single toy there is, and the whole house was in complete disarray, which was fine, but like, everybody chipped in, and everyone just let me sleep. Not one person made me feel like shit because I couldn't get up and help, or made me feel awkward, or made any snide comments. Like, you know, just how some people can be passive aggressive, and they'll make comments like, you know, oh, it's a shame you couldn't help us clean up, or whatever, you know. I have a very supportive family, and I don't have to deal with any of that. But I know that's not the case for a lot of people, which I find very sad. So I'm definitely lucky in that department. I'm definitely still exhausted, which is one of the reasons it's taken me so long just to... Actually, I did have a video that I did yesterday. I went outside. It was a cool day in Texas yesterday, and what I mean by that is it wasn't like standing on the surface of the sun hot, like it normally is on the last day of July. It was a very muggy, humid, like 80-something situation, so it was doable. And I made this video, but then a bunny crossed my path, like a baby bunny crossed my path. And so the rest of the video, I'm flipping back and forth between talking to y'all and talking to the bunny, who is going from like bush to bush to bush right in front of our house, and then going all the way to the end and then coming all the way back. And so I was like, are you looking for your bunny hole, your nest, your mommy? Like, what's happening? And of course, when it comes to babies, I'm extra like, ah! It was so cute. But like the whole time, every time, because I was showing you guys the bunny, every time I turned my phone around, you couldn't hear anything. So I just was like, I'll just make another video tomorrow, which is today. But it was basically, I was pondering the same things, like how do you handle family vacations? Like for me, in terms of air travel, I'm just assuming right now, based on my current body, that I'm never going to get on an airplane. And it's sad because, you know, my husband talks a lot about, oh, it would be fun to go here, it would be fun to go there, da 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 da. And I'm like, no, not gonna happen. Not with me. Because all this stuff that happens with the airport, you know, maybe I am just too green or unknowledgeable when it comes to like knowing how disabled people get around, but I don't have a wheelchair. I still feel super awkward if I use the ones at like Walmart because people stare at you, especially when you're my size. They're like, you know, they just assume it's because you're fat. No, I could walk fine when I was even bigger. This is a different situation. But this would be a lot of walking, a lot of sitting in one place, you know, in coach, which would be agonizing. And of course, if it was like going to someplace like Hawaii, as if we could afford any of this anyway. But let's just say we somehow got a trip to Hawaii. Well, okay, I'd have to take an Ambien. I don't know how that would work, getting me off the plane. So, you know, maybe, and that's another reason why I wanted to do, you know, try to build a community on YouTube, because how do you travel? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, and just yesterday I found out, I used to watch this girl, she was one of the first chronically ill people that I started following, and her name was Chronically Jackie, and she had Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, POTS, and a few other things that she was battling with. Gastroparesis, I think Crohn's or something like that. Sweetest girl, married to a sweetest guy. And about a year ago, I kind of just got out of the habit of watching her, mostly because YouTube, you know, when people drop out of your notifications, or not your notifications, but they drop out of like your recommendeds. She had dropped out, and I was watching Fry Life, which is the family that I watch where the wife has cystic fibrosis. But somehow, I don't know how, I don't even remember how, but I was watching, I don't know, whatever. Anyway, somehow yesterday I found out that she had died, chronically Jackie, and from sepsis. And it actually wasn't long after I had stopped watching. Last time I had seen her, she was in the hospital having a horrible time with bowel impaction. And apparently she became septic and died, and that'll kill you pretty quickly. And she's so young and so committed to her cause of just sharing her journey and her struggles. And she did so much for that community, the Ehlers-Danlos chronically ill community, invisible illness community, because looking at her, if you were to just look at her, not towards the end, but she was always upbeat, and always smiling. There were days, just like anybody, where she wasn't having the greatest of days, but when she was out in the world, she was always very gracious and kind to everybody she came across. And so I can see where, with the invisible illness, especially her being so young, she would talk about sometimes where people would be like, why are you in a wheelchair? She spent a lot of time in the wheelchair because fatigue was a big thing for her. And just the walking, like with POTS, you can get dizzy in an instant, and there was a lot of reasons she needed a wheelchair. And I'm sure, she got crap for that. And I think that's one of the reasons, one of the many, that she wanted to start a YouTube channel to educate people about Ehlers-Danlos, all pretty rare diseases in the grand scheme of things. Like hypothyroidism isn't a rare, I don't even know if you call it a disease, but it's not a rare condition. But things like what she had, what I have, even if they're not rare, they're not, people aren't knowledgeable about them. People don't know about them. Like you say, small fiber neuropathy, people are like, what? You say Ehlers-Danlos, people are like, what? MS, people are very, everybody knows what MS is. Everybody knows what cancer is. Everybody knows what cystic fibrosis is, So that was a total bummer. And it reminded me of another YouTuber I watched, Pee Wee Toms. He shared his cancer journey, and he died, I think it was a couple years ago. And he was such a lovely, he was from England. He was so upbeat, so positive. I loved his accent. He wanted to live so bad. He just kept pushing and pushing and pushing for more life, which I know I sound kind of like where some of you might be like, why wouldn't he be pushing for more life? But for me, towards the end, he was terminal, and he was in a lot of pain, but he still wanted to live. For me, I'm a different kind of person. I roll a little bit differently, and I don't want to. And I apologize if that's triggering for you. I'm not saying this is not a cry for help. I'm not saying I am in that state right now. I'm just saying if I ever came to that state where there were more good days than bads, I personally would not be pushing for more life. For me, that's my own personal choice. Because I just don't, to me, suffering is like what's the point? What's the point? After certain, I think we all have to suffer and go through hard times. That's how you learn. That's how you grow, right? But at some point, in my thinking, it no longer serves a purpose. There's no purpose to be had by my wallowing away in bed 24/7, getting no joy out of life because the pain is so intense and untreatable. Like, there is no amount of pain medication that would make me comfortable unless I was unconscious. To me, there's no purpose to that. But I'm not at that phase. Hopefully I never will be. It's a chronic illness. It's not a terminal illness. Hopefully I won't ever get to that point. There have been times where, like, for that first 3 months with my foot, where I was like, okay, well, I'm not doing this for much longer. Luckily, we got it resolved. But, boy, this video just took a nosedive into the darkness, didn't it? Sorry about that. Let's pluck ourselves right out of that darkness. And I'm trying to think if there's anything fun that I can talk about. Oh, Umbrella Academy. I don't know if any of you guys watched that. That started Friday. I have not finished it. I got through a couple of episodes, I think yesterday, and then I conked out. What did I feel like I watched something else yesterday? Because I've been mostly bedbound. I've binged a lot. I did actually attempt to do some exercise. I think it was yesterday, because I do understand, like, movement is healthy for you, right? Like after surgery, the first thing that they want you to do is move. You gotta start moving. Like, the minute, that's how you heal. And I think because I had PT, which is, what the hell does PT stand for? What does it stand for? Physical therapy. I had physical therapy once, and it was just like a 30-minute thing. It was very light, very simple. And the very next day, I got a full body burn that lasted for 4 days. And it was like, if you're a burner, you know what I'm talking about. If you're not a burner, which some SFNers are not, it's like, I'd rather have the kind I have, which is 95% is the muscly stuff. I mean, I get the zips and the zaps and that kind of pain, but the burning is something altogether different. Like, there's none of the pain treatments help at all, because it's not like traditional pain. It's like your skin feels like the top layer has been peeled off, like when you fall down and as a kid and scrape your hands, like you fall down off your bike and it feels bruised, but also like burns because the top layer of your skin's gone. That's what it feels like. And it was, there wasn't a part of my body that didn't burn, inside, outside. my tips of my ears, inside of my ears, my nose, the inside of my nose, just every single inch of my body felt like that for 4 days. Fortunately, it went away because I was reaching my my max on that. The only thing that I could do was sleep, right? So tried to get the right medicine to just sleep through it, you know. So that's why exercise, really scares me. It's not necessarily like the fatigue. I welcome the fatigue in a sense because I know that will help me sleep at night. But I did do it, and all it was I just turned on my jams, went in the bathroom, and just started dancing around. You know what I mean? I used to do calisthenics a lot in the 80s before it was, now all of a sudden calisthenics is cool again, right? But calisthenics is just micro movements. And I had a really tiny waist, and I attributed it to that because it was just a micro movement, which is perfect for someone with small fiber neuropathy, right? Like I'm not gonna go and do a full-blown workout. So I would like to start that more consistently and do some of that every day. I do like a lot of stuff with my legs and my arm when I'm in bed, trying to keep my legs stretched. That's a part of the illness where, because I'm always so tight, I'm always stretching my legs. But I do also try to do like micro movements. If anyone listening has like anything I can do for my core that wouldn't, like traditional sit-ups are not going to work for me. I can't, I don't have the core, one, to do them. I've had 3 C-sections, one that was vertical. That was the first one because it was an emergency, so it just, every single muscle I had in my stomach cut right in half, and then the last 2 were horizontal. So I never got back any of my stomach muscle, and I had a nice flat girl pack. I don't know what to call it because I don't know if girls have 6 packs, but I had a nice flat tight tummy, 22-inch waist, cute like little gymnast body, because I'm not super tall at the time. I was like 5'2". Now I'm 5'5.5". But just I definitely would like to work on my core because it will help me with balance, and it just, there's a lot of benefits, right, to having a stronger core. So if anyone knows of like non-invasive, but like I need the littlest amount of effort as possible for the core exercises. I think the hubby Wubs is home with the grub. He went to go get grub, so I thought it would be a good time to make a video. But if any of you have any ideas, I could also YouTube it. Huh? Okay, I heard you. I heard the door slam. Anyway, so the food's here. So I am going to go eat the food. Duh. And I can't decide on what I'm going to watch. I'm really seriously giving Deep Blue Sea, what's it called? Deep Blue Sea? Deep Blue Sea 3. The first one was awesome. I'm really giving that a strong consideration because I love sharks and I love crazy sharks. I'm not for killing sharks, even though they terrify the shit out of me. But it's okay to kill movie sharks because they're not real. I'm really considering watching that, but I'm scared it's going to be cheesy and suck. But, you know, you gotta take risks in life, right? And this is the, I guess, biggest risk taking I'm ever gonna endure, so. But anyway, thanks for listening to my, I can't think of the word. I can't think of the word. You know what you guys know what I'm trying to say. What?
Vlog.
Well, I was going to say my ramblings. That's it. But, thanks for listening. Kelly and I are going to try to do a mukbang in a few days, with this sushi. It's not traditional sushi because I think it's like, I don't know if it's Americanized or what, but it's delicious. It's like a warm sushi. It's called monkey brains. I will explain to you what that is on the next one, because you got to see it to believe it. It is probably one of the best things I've ever eaten in my entire life. I love it. So, that's it. I will see you guys in the next one. I promise it will be sooner because now I am back and I'm finally feeling more on the mend. I also have a couple of interviews, like phone. One of them's a video interview, like a Zoom thing. So I definitely have to color my hair. No more excuses. I have to get it done. And then one's a phone interview, which is also, I just feel so out of the loop because I haven't had to interview in over 8 years. Plus, with my dry mouth and me having to constantly suck on a cough drop, that's a little, oh no. Deadliest Catch deckhand Malon Reyes dies at 38. I'm not sure who that is, but Deadliest Catch is one of my favorite shows. I will have to go and investigate that. But anyway, gonna go eat. Thank you for joining me. I will see you in the next one. I hope you have a beautiful night and a beautiful tomorrow. And I'll see you in the next one.